Hello everyone and welcome back to RimWorld Infinite Lives, where the beginning of this episode starts at the end of last episode after the massive bug invasion of our colony where we lost multiple colonists, unfortunately. But their sacrifices will not be in vain. Unfortunately, though, this episode begins with more loss as one of our colonists was in a murderous rage and stabbed another to death. Even after shooting him, he did not stop. It takes more than bullets to break his psychotic wandering, I suppose. And now we would need to fill another casket with another friendly face. Even though most of the bugs were already dead, some of them were still wandering around in our hallways, so we tried to attack them and kill them before, well, they could do the same to us. Though finishing off this bug would not bring back Lazarus's wife, it would bring his heart some peace. And speaking of peace, it is finally time that we lay our colonists to rest. I built 5 caskets in what I actually originally built to be a weapon/armory room. So it is now a mausoleum of sorts, unfortunately. But enough with the sadness. We were now having some pirates set up nearby to try and harass us with an EMI dynamo that was shutting off all our power. I didn't really read into it too much. I just knew, hey, bad guys here, go, bang, bang, shoot, kill. And so we did. I sent out a small caravan with Lazarus attached, seeing how he would probably be pulling most of the weight as he can't die. Well, he can, but he comes back to life, so it's not too big of a deal. I pulled a bit of a risky strategy and just kind of stood out in the open for the most part. As they chased us down, as most of them were melee enemies, we just kind of blew their heads off. A few of our colonists did suffer from a few bullet wounds and other injuries that the pirates inflicted upon them, of course, but after a while the pirates ended up fleeing and we tried to hide in this nice little section of this small hill. That way they couldn't see us anymore. Then Lazarus and his grenades made short work of the dynamo. And as you can see, as we returned home, we brought 2 of those filthy, stinky pirates back home with us to recruit. Pirates, though, truly would be the least of our worries, as Pickles, our colonist, was having a murderous rage fit and decided to attempt to attack Kabito. When Pickles went into this murderous rage with his knife, he decided that he would try and cut out both of Kabito's eyes. Unfortunately, I think Kabito did end up losing one of them. The other one was just cut and would be fine after it healed up. Sometime after that, we had a lady named Bud offering to join us, claiming she had nowhere else to go and just wanted to have a nice warm bed, I suppose. Lucky for her, we were pretty much out of options and accepted. Unfortunately, though, for Bud, as she was trying to enter the colony, we had a big group of man-hunting deer that just went crazy and attacked her. After the deer beat, bucked, kicked, and slapped the crap out of Bud, they ended up coming to our main entrance on the base after hitting a bunch of traps, and we quickly dispatched of them. I wish mad deer were all we had to worry about, though. We had a part of a ship fall nearby that would apparently kill all the plants in the area, which wasn't great because, we liked growing food. But thankfully, as he always does, Lazarus volunteered to run out and get himself killed by the mechanoids while trying to blow them up and shoot them. Lazarus used grenade throw, and it was super effective against mechanoids. So most of them ended up falling, but unfortunately they shot Lazarus and cut him a few times, and he dropped to the ground and began bleeding to death. Unfortunately, though, shortly after resurrecting Lazarus, he was quickly downed once again by a scyther and its blades. It took a little while for him to bleed out, and of course we brought him back to life, and I sent him back down there with 2 Gauss pistols to finish the job, and then eventually destroy the ship part with his grenades. After some time passed, though, we finally recruited Rabbit, who was one of those filthy, stinky pirates I mentioned earlier on, who were protecting the dynamo. Thankfully so, I might add, because now we could use all the help we could get, as we had another mech cluster dropping nearby the base. I mean, by this point, you know the drill, right? Like the guy, Lazarus, that can't die, he's got grenades, I sent him down there, he chucked a few grenades, he blew some stuff up. He destroyed some stuff, killed some mechs, and then eventually, he got downed and he eventually bled out and Then the mechs actually ended up attacking the base, which I was kind of surprised by. Finally, our other colonists would see some action since last episode. Unfortunately, one of them almost got downed immediately, and we had to try and take them inside so they wouldn't die. Surprisingly, it was actually a much better strategy to hide everyone on the sidelines where the mechs could not see them, so that they would just try and walk through the bear traps, and after a few bear traps, we ended up killing all the mechanoids. And of course, we couldn't forget about our good buddy Lazarus laying out there dead next to that tree, so we brought him back to life. And we let him use his grenades to go ahead and finish off one of those mini slugger turrets that were with the mechanoids, just before he made the trek home butt-ass naked with his rotted corpse. Late one night, some Muffalo went absolutely insane and decided they had a hankering for some human flesh. Unfortunately for them, they would not be allowed to nibble on Lazarus's rotted corpse at any point because they would be met with traps and gunfire. And after some time, they all ended up dying. We also ended up having a war merchant who was orbiting the planet, so we traded them all the gold that we had from that masterwork statue a few episodes back for a lot of different types of power armor-esque armor. I think this episode finally made me realize that our people really hadn't been prepared in terms of armor. Weapons, yes, because of all the raids, but armor, no. We never really had anything other than maybe flak jackets, flak pants, and then, like a flak vest. That's about it, so this is a big step up. I think as time goes on in this, I'm going to try to focus more on armor for everyone. Not long after that, though, of course, we had another one of those filthy, stinky pirates that were guarding the Dynamo, who we recruited, thankfully. He was a man by the name of Black. We sent him to our little warehouse to go ahead and equip anything he wanted and, start protecting the land, essentially. One of the first things the man named Black had to help us with was stopping one of our colonists from attempting to stab Cabito to death. If you don't remember, Pickles also attempted to stab Cabito to death earlier in the episode. I'm starting to see a trend here. Days later, we had a quest come up where we would take on 14 man-hunting tortoises in exchange for a recon helmet. So I went ahead and accepted that because, like I said, I'd like to focus on armor for everyone. But while waiting on those tortoises to enter the area where we could slaughter them, we were being sieged by a bunch of disgusting freaks of nature from a nearby pirate faction. It took a little while for them to get their things, their mortars and whatnot, but finally after those fell, we ended up having the 14 man-hunting tortoises enter the area as well. I was hoping the two may clash at some point. Kind of one of those situations with the two birds and one stone, you know what I'm saying, that kind of thing. As usual, I sent Lazarus down with his trusty grenade belt. He even managed to get a few thrown at the pirates before they downed him and blew up their mortar shells, which would kind of be useless because they would just get more sent over to them. Thankfully though, just as I hoped, the turtles and the pirates clashed for quite a while. The only real problem with that being the turtles obviously got murdered pretty quickly. I mean, before they even got to the pirates. Some of them attacked the pirates like head on, but most of them died. Speaking of death, of course, Lazarus died as well and had to be revived. Of course, he was very brave, picked up his grenades once again and just started chucking them every which way at the raiders, but unfortunately he got downed again by a few shotgun blasts and whatnot. And I received the message saying the raiders were coming to attack the colony, and then for some reason, it looked like they had turned around. I think that they were going to kidnap who they could, but the only person to kidnap was Lazarus as he was laying on the ground. But he ended up bleeding to death before they could, so I suppose they just left. I'm not sure. I just seen them kind of turn around and leave, thankfully. But that, my dear friends, is RimWorld Infinite Lives Part 5. I'm going to go ahead and call it an episode here. We've had a lot of excitement, sieges, turtles, deer, Muffalo, murderous rages where people are losing their eyeballs. It's been one hectic episode, I will tell you, and quite the hectic conclusion to last episode where we had an insane amount of insectoids and whatnot. We are finally building the colony back. It will be a slow process, but we are going to get there. But I hope you guys have enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.